All right, everybody, welcome to the subcommittee for public education. Just as kind of an FYI, the House is still in session and seems like it's going to be for a while. They don't get along like we do, you know. But what we are going to do in the name of being efficient is we have about 13 bills that are similar to Senate bills, and we are going to, if they died in the Senate, they're going to die in the Senate again. And if they're similar, they're going to conform and be shipped out. And we're going to do that now. And we're not going to take any testimony. We're just going to go through the procedure. We're going to bang that out. That will leave us with about 20 bills that we do have to take up individually. And we will, of course, go at ease, and we will wait for the House to finish for that, obviously. And so y'all can go do what you want to do. If you want to stay here and just see us do a bunch of procedural stuff where we just go through all these bills, you can. If you want to go get a coffee, you can do that too. I'm not going to be offended because we're just going to make motions. So having said that, and we're going to go pretty fast too. And so, like I said, it's about 12 bills, I think. So we're going to start with House Bill 398. House Bill 398 from Delegate McQuinn is similar to Senator Pekarsky's Senate Bill 586. So I need a motion to conform House Bill 398 to Senate Bill 586.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of conforming, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, now I need a motion to report House Bill 398 as substituted.
So I move that we recommend reporting to full committee. Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 398 as substituted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
We didn't adopt the substitute.
Yeah, we did. We confirmed it.
Okay.
Yeah, we confirmed it.
So we're voting on the bill?
Yeah, we're voting on the bill.
No.
Okay.
No and no.
No, okay. So that's recommended reporting on a 3-2 to vote.
398.
Yeah, that was 398. Next up is 419. Next up is House Bill 419 from Delegate Boulevard, which is similar to Senator Locke's Senate Bill 54. So I will entertain a motion to conform House Bill 419 to Senate Bill 54.
I move that we conform House Bill 419 to Senate Bill 54.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, now I'll entertain a motion to report House Bill 419 as substituted.
I move that we recommend reporting the substitute.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor of recommending reporting House Bill 419 as substituted say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's recommend reports 5-0. Next is 624. 624.
I move that we conform House Bill 624 to Senate Bill 105.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to conform House Bill 624 to Senate Bill 105. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now entertain a motion.
Motion to report 624.
Second.
There's been a motion to recommend reporting House Bill 624 as substituted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. Next up is House Bill 625.
Move to conform House Bill 625 to Senate Bill 608.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to recommend conforming House Bill 625 to Senate Bill 608. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that's conformed. Now I'll entertain a motion.
Now move to recommend reporting House Bill 625.
Been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 625 as substituted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. Next up is House Bill 632. Yep. So we need to conform that to Senate Bill 352.
That was your speech.
There's been a motion and a second to conform House Bill 632 to Senate Bill 352. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now we need a motion to report.
Second.
There's been a motion to recommend reporting House Bill 632 as substituted and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. Okay, so next we need to go to 825. 825 is Delegate Cousins, at-risk add-on. This is the JLARC stuff.
On 632, did he want us to conform that?
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That.
All right, we did.
And so we need a motion to conform House Bill 825 to Senate Bill 105.
I move that we conform House Bill 825 to Senate Bill 105.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to conform House Bill 825 to Senate Bill 105. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Now move that we recommend reporting House Bill 825 as a substitute to,
All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend referring House Bill 825 as substituted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. Next up, we have House Bill 830. This is similar to Senator Rome's Senate Bill 314, so we need to conform that.
Move to conform House Bill 830 to Senate Bill 314.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to conform House Bill 830 to Senate Bill 314. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is conformed. Now we need a motion to report.
Move to report House Bill 830 as a substitute.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 830 as substituted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. All right, next is House Bill 842. This was similar to Senator Suderline's bill and came out of Education and Health, but did not come out of Senate and Finance. And so rather than have us make that second trip, this go around, and I've talked to Delegate Austin as well about this, I think the motion here would be to pass by indefinitely House Bill 842.
Now, technically, Suderline's bill was continued.
Oh, continue. So you want to continue? So we move to continue it. So move to continue to, I'll take a motion to continue to
Move to
And
continue.
there's been a motion and a second. Good catch. There's been a motion and a second to continue House Bill 842. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. Next up is House Bill 1089. This is Delegate Coiner's bill, which is similar to Senator Favola's Senate Bill 220 on special education. Let's take,
Move to conform HB 1089 to Senate Bill 220.
Second.
all right, there's been a motion and a second to conform House Bill 1089 to Senate Bill 220. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Now we need a motion to report.
Move to report.
There's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1089 as substituted. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. Next up is 1247. 1247 is Delegate Maldonado's bill, which is similar to Senator Hashmi's bill. So we need a motion to confirm 1247 to Senate Bill 272.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to conform House Bill 1247 to Senate Bill 272. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we need a motion to report.
Second.
So there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1247 as substituted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And last but not least for this round is House Bill 1345, which we need to conform to Senator Diggs's Senate Bill 199. All right, all those in favor of conforming House Bill 1345 to Senate Bill 199 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. There's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1345 as substituted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes 5-0. And then you'll see that there are two others that are similar, but we need to save those for the next block. So one is 1477, which is Delegate Rasool's instructional time bill. We passed that by indefinitely by Senator Suderline, but there's a much different version that we're going to take up in when they're done. And then the other one is Delegate Sewell's bill that's similar to Senator Pillion and Pekarsky's bill, but we need to do some amendments on that. And so we'll save those two.
Go back to House Bill 1089.
Sure, yes.
Delegate Cornyn's bill, because I think her bill is really different from what Senator Favola's bill came out to be.
Yeah, that's why we conformed it.
Yeah, we conformed them, but they're different.
Very
They're
different.
very different.
Very different.
Yes, so we need to undo what we did
To conform it?
to conform them. So,
You want the Coiner bill?
I don't want to conform them, no.
You want the Coiner bill to be separate from the
Yeah.
Favola bill?
I want Corners bill to not be conformed to Senator Favola's, right?
Corners is identical to how Senator Pavlov's passed out.
Right, right. And then when it went to finance, it was totally changed.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So you want to reconsider?
yes, I'd like to move that we reconsider the motion by which we conformed House Bill 1089 to Senate Bill 220.
I think first we would have to reconsider the
Reconsider the motion by which we
recommended reporting.
report it.
Second.
There's been a motion, a second, there has been a motion and a second to reconsider our vote on House Bill 1089 as substituted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and now Senator Locke.
Now, I would move that we reconsider the motion by which we conformed House Bill 1089 to Senate Bill 220.
Second.
Been a motion, a second, to reconsider the motion to conform House Bill 1089 to Senate Bill 220. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, so now we're back in the posture of House Bill 1089. So for those of you that are at home listening or in the audience, what we just did is 1089 is now in the same posture as Senate Bill 220 as it passed out of Education and Health,
Right.
the original time, versus the kind of different version that came out of Senate Finance, and we want to pass that full version into Senate Finance.
I prefer the version
Yeah.
that Corner has.
Okay, yeah, so do you want to move to report that?
Second.
Yes.
First, moved.
There's been a motion, is there a second? Second. There's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1089. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, so we've gotten through all the bills that are similar. We now need to wait on the House, and so we're going to go at ease until that happens.
The Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311.
We are back. The House is done squabbling. Delegate Seawold, we're gonna take you first. We have a long list, so for everybody that's just getting here, if your bill was similar to a Senate bill, we already conformed it and moved it on. So we dealt with about 12 bills. Any bill that was similar to a Senate bill got conformed, and we can hash it out in conference. Or if it met an untimely fate in the Senate, on the Senate side, we just did that again. So now we have just bills that were not heard on the Senate side to go around. We have a long list. So I'm going to tell you who's up on the list. I'm going to tell you who's at the end of the list. So if you're at the end of the list, you can go do something if you'd like and come back. So we got Delegate Siebold. The next 5 people in the queue are Keys Gamarra, McQuinn, Tata, Razul, Campbell. At the end of my list, the last 4 people I have signed up are Simons, Watts, Lopez, Askew. So just so you know where you're kind of at in the world. And with that, we've got Delegate Siebold, who has House Bill 1221. And before we actually have Delegate Siebold go, we're going to just have council read the amendment. And so council has an amendment for 1221. And council, if you could tell us what that amendment is.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the amendment is to make clear that this program of instruction on menstrual education is not required to be provided in each grade 4 through 8, but rather at any one grade in grades 4 through 8. And so that would amend the language in lines 20 through 21 to read, any such health instruction offered at such grade level, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. It would amend it to read, each school board may provide as a part of such health instruction offered at such grade level 4 through 8, as such school board deems appropriate, a program of instruction on menstrual education.
So can we get somebody to move that amendment?
Move the amendment.
Is there a motion second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, so that's, just to make clear to everybody, that's clarifying that it wouldn't be every year 4 through 8, it would be 1 year. And so Delegate Siebold, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. HB 1221 is a bill that was requested by students in my district who were shocked to learn that they will not be taught menstruation in school and asked us to change that policy. This bill permits school districts to include menstrual education, and the amendment specifies that it will be any time during elementary and middle school during the health education curriculum. Not having this education can lead to insecurity, depression, and also affect school attendance, reduce classroom participation, and eventually create educational disparities among students. So I'm asking the support of this committee to pass this bill along.
All right, before we get to the committee, is there anybody that wants to talk in support of the bill? Yes, Senator Locke.
Delegate, is this in lieu of something else or as a part of the ongoing curriculum?
Mr. Chair, Senator Locke, this would be an additional to the ongoing curriculum, which does not include menstruation education.
Anybody in opposition? Anybody in the committee have a question or comment? As amended? There's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1221 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. All right, that is 4-1. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Yeah. Delegate Cole, actually, I have Delegate Cole real quick, and then Keys Gamarra. Delegate Cole here? No? All right, Delegate Keys Gamarra is up. All right, why don't we start where we left off, right, which is House Bill 166. So if you want to just real quick refresh everyone's memory on House Bill 166.
This is the composting, correct? All right, thank you. Thank you, committee members. The last time we were here, the House Bill 166 focused on trying to get guidance for schools that may want to participate in composting programs. I understand that may be difficult for the Department of Education, and so I did You should have a substitute in front of you. I did find an organization, actually, there's a cooperative that works with composting and provides guidance. And so that's the substitute that would allow the Department of Education to rely on that party to give them information. They already have programs for composting, and they also have ambassadors within their organization that they work with that can also help those schools that would need additional help. So I'm hoping that the substitute will address the concerns expressed by the committee earlier and allow us to move forward, so in a permissive way for those school districts or schools that may want to go forward, and this would provide the assistance that they may need.
All right, well, let's move the substitute real quick. The motion is second to move the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Okay. All right, so delegate, just so I'm clear on this, this says if a school board asks, then who will give them this information?
The Virginia Cooperative Extension Service Program, it's actually working with two universities. I believe it's Virginia State and Virginia Tech. And they have been providing guidance on composting, as well as working with 4-H and other organizations to be able to provide that information.
Okay, so under this bill, basically, Henrico County says, hey, we would like to get information that relates to this, provide it to us.
Yes.
Okay. Senator Locke?
I guess, Delegate, why is it necessary to have legislation to do this? Can't the school boards just ask for this information from the cooperative extension?
What is happening in the real world now is that most of this is generated at the local school level. If you have schools with significant PTA support or things of that nature, then they will move forward individually. But if there's no guidance from the Department of Ed, so I'm hoping that this connection will allow people to receive what they need without having to reinvent the wheel at each individual school.
Delegate, Mr. Chair and Delegate, it seems like a perfectly good idea. I'm just you've missed my speeches from earlier today, talking about all these things where we've been advising everybody to do everything and these are all great ideas individually, but gosh, it seems to me that if a school wants to compost its stuff, we don't have to do something at the state level. And I'm going to make a motion to pass this by for the week or month.
I don't know what you're doing.
Pass by indefinitely.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to pass by indefinitely. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. All right, that motion passes by 4-1. 3-1. All right, 4-1. Motion's 4-1. All right. Next up is House Bill 979. Take it away.
Okay, House Bill 979 is actually the result of my experience, as well as doing quite a bit of study with respect to how our school boards get guidance from the statute. Wait a second, let me pull my language here. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not finding my notes, and I thought she just showed it to me. Okay. So House Bill 979 seeks to clarify the role of the relationship of the superintendent and the school board. It is generally believed that the superintendent manages the daily operations of the school system, and the school board hires the superintendent and the school board provides oversight for said superintendent. However, when examining the Virginia Code, the language is vague regarding this vital relationship between the two entities. I actually got some advice from our staff here, and they gave me a list of the statutes that govern our school boards, and I did a separate study myself. I counted 48 statutes that govern the actions of either the board or the school board, with the exception of those sections requiring certain reports or the hiring and evaluation. There is no language that defines the relationship between the board to the superintendent. There is no language defining the delegation of authority or what is appropriate, or that the board provides overall oversight to the superintendent. This lack of clarity can result in a misunderstanding that the board may not access certain vital information that is necessary to the oversight role. In general, the code operates in silos, so you have several statutes that provide specific language, but nothing bringing those or describing that relationship. There is a statute that lists the general duties of the local school board. Generally, that's in 22.1-79, and a statute that authorizes the board to appoint the superintendent, but these are all separate code provisions. And there's a separate statute regarding the superintendent. This statutory structure lacks the clarity needed because the role of both the local school board and the superintendent is vital to public schools. If you look at 22.1-2, which mandates a system of free public schools, however, if you consider the fact that Virginia is a Dillon rule state, such enumeration is imprecise at best. The phrase oversight, which is provided in the language of 979, allows the public, the board, and the superintendent to understand the balance of power that is intended. This is the same balance of power found in our federal government and other government structures. The school board is often an elected body that provides oversight, maintains a close relationship with constituents, and brings those concerns to develop policy and decisions that is described in the statute. We know that the local school board is seen as a responsible entity because as a former school board member, we're the ones that get sued. So I hope that, and we also have a recent decision with Fairfax County Public Schools. The proposed language on House Bill 979 simply provides further clarification to the roles that are so vital to public education, and I ask that you report this proposed legislation.
Is there anybody here that, before we get to the committee, that wants to speak in favor of the bill? Anybody opposed? Senator Craig.
Thank you. And I thank the delegate for bringing this bill up, but I too served on the school board, and I think, they're elected by the people. We go through an election, the people elect us, and I think I'm not inclined to take that responsibility away. I hired 2 superintendents while I was on the school board. I think we did a great job, and I think the school board, the people elect these people, and I think we need to let them continue to do their job. And that, therefore, I will not be supporting this bill.
Senator Peake? Yeah, Senator Peake.
For the patron, was there a particular incident or school board that requested this?
There is not a particular school board that requested this. This is a result of a number of conversations of people who have worked in this area.
Thank you.
Council, I have a question. Does the Constitution already give them the authority to do over? I guess I'm wondering, as our Constitution and legal code is structured, isn't it kind of an implied power of oversight of the superintendent?
Mr. Chair, it's somewhat implied. For example, there are, in the code section, in the code itself, there's One section, section 22.1-65, which relates to the punishment of division superintendents and provides that a division superintendent may be assessed a reasonable fine, suspended from office for a limited period, or removed entirely by either the Board of Education or the school board of the division for sufficient cause. Section 22.1-70 provides that the division superintendent shall perform such other duties as may be prescribed by law, by the school board, and by the state board. And then there's additional areas in the code where, as you said, it's implied but not expressly stated that the school board has authority and the division superintendent's exercise of authority is subject to the discretion of the school board. For example, section 22.1-131 provides that the school board may authorize the division superintendent to permit the use of school property, and again, the division superintendent shall report to the school board at the end of each month his actions under this section. So as you noted, it is implied, it is somewhat ambiguous, and it's not, the relationship isn't expressly established, but it's not entirely silent on this.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the committee? All right, we work on motions. We work on motions. No motions. Is there anybody here from the School Board Association that can speak to this? Superintendents. Senator Locke is phoning a friend.
Is there a question, or we don't have a position on the bill, but I'm happy to try to answer a question.
Okay, Senator Pekarsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess we're all, I think, trying to kind of figure out practically what this means. So if the delegate can speak to that, if maybe the school boards want to speak to that, Superintendents Association, what will change from changing the code from what is happening now?
I don't know that I can speak to what's happening in all the different school divisions, but I can tell you, and maybe to answer Senator Van Valkenburg's question earlier, Article 8, Section 7 in the Constitution of Virginia vests the supervision of the schools and the school board, and that has been broadly construed by the courts to include a lot of things within the supervision that is vested in the school board,
Mr. Chair,
not anybody else.
a question to the witness. I mean, is there a superintendent in the Commonwealth that is not hired by a school board?
That's their job, that's their main job.
No,
Isn't-
Mr. Chairman, no,
We'll flip it.
School
Is there
superintendents
any superintendent that can't be fired by the school board?
Not that I'm aware of. The school board is the employer, the superintendent is employed by the school board.
I can talk to that, I mean.
Tom, did you want to add something, or are you just there for backup?
No, Tom does
You're
not want
just-
to answer anything.
You're just there in solidarity? Okay. Yeah, Senator Craig.
So, Mr. Chair, if I could address.
Superintendent works at the will and the pleasure of the school board. That's why we have and
In my study of, if I may respond, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, please.
In my study of the statutes, if there were hypothetically a superintendent that said this is outside of the information that the school board should be requesting, there doesn't appear to be anything prohibiting that from occurring. And so there have been reports made to me from more than one school system Should I stop talking?
I guess my question would be, Delegate, what does this change that doesn't already exist?
I think what it answers some questions, because I've talked to a number of school board members who have worked with superintendents who believe that they should delegate, or they believe that it is appropriate to delegate, but I believe that it actually helps school board members to understand that oversight exists. And it also helps the public to understand what that role is in a general way. The change that happens is that these quibbles that can occur between superintendents and school boards are settled by this language. Even if there may be, for example, there's a provision to say that principals are to be approved by school board members. But ultimately, the oversight of that still remains with the school board. Now, you may say that the superintendent is choosing, et cetera, but that oversight is still with the school board. And so I think that it provides a degree of clarity that, given the number of attacks that we have had on school boards recently, I think that it helps to, for the community to understand where the oversight is, and that daily operations belongs to the superintendent.
Senator Craig.
Yes, thank you. I ask that this be PBI. Move that it's PBI.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second that House Bill 979 be passed by indefinitely. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
All right, that motion passes 4-1.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Delegate Cole. And then after that, Delegate McQuinn, Delegate Tata, Delegate Rasool.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I have before you HB 536. This bill simply seeks to amend the definition of bullying within the context of public education to specify that the real or perceived power imbalance between the aggressor and aggressors and the victim that is involved in the act of bullying indicates such a power imbalance on the basis of the membership of the victim in a group that is protected from discrimination pursuant to the Virginia Human Rights Act. So all this bill really does is allow the Human Rights Act to be applied to students. This does not change anything as it relates to, I'm sorry, I'm having a brain freeze moment. Anything as it relates to the punishment due to bullying, it just adds extra protections. And I think if many of you were aware, there was a student named Nex Benedict who was tragically and senselessly murdered in the school. And this bill would seek to help to protect other students in such situations as well. And so this bill puts into focus that bullying someone based on their sexuality, their race, nation of origin, their abilities and differences, their faith, their gender, or their body. And we know this is a severe issue that's happening in our schools right now. We just want to put some protection on our students.
Delegate Cole, just a clarifying question. What makes what's crossed out in the bill, what's different about what's crossed out in the bill from tying it to the Virginia Human Rights Act?
I'm sorry, what's crossed out?
Right, so it just says include, oh, I see, never mind. That's my mistake. Is there anybody here, I too had a brain fart. Is there anybody, a freeze. Is there anybody in here who wants to speak in favor of the bill?
Good afternoon, Narissa with Equality Virginia. As the delegate mentioned, Nex Benedict, we shouldn't really know this name, but so many of us do. Nex was a student in Oklahoma who died earlier this month after a horrific attack at school, an attack that happened possibly because of Nex's transgender and gender expansive identity. Nex was brutally attacked by classmates in a school bathroom. And in 2023, Oklahoma passed a law denying students like Nex access to bathrooms that allowed them to feel safe. Nex deserved to live a full life, one where we celebrate Nex's light, beauty, kindness, and accomplishments, and instead we are honoring Nex's memory. But you might say this is Virginia, not Oklahoma, but all of this takes place in the context of a legislative session where Virginia lawmakers introduce harmful legislation and continue to amplify a sense of erasure and isolation for LGBTQ youth who are navigating an already hostile school environment. We're fortunate that the proposed harms accession are no longer active, but the harms still exist. The onslaught of anti-trans rhetoric and legislation, including is directly harming the physical, mental, and emotional health of the youngest in our community. According to the 2022 U.S. Trans Survey, nearly 2/3 of 16 and 17-year-old respondents who were out or perceived as trans in K-12 schools experienced one or more forms of mistreatment or negative experiences in school. And these experiences include verbal harassment, physical attacks, online bullying, being denied the ability to dress according to their gender identity, and others. Transgender students, including non-binary students, deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. They should be able to live freely and authentically, just like every other student. Next should have been safe to simply be themselves at school, and all LGBTQ youth deserve the safety to thrive in school, and that is becoming increasingly difficult. I hope we can work together to make sure Virginia students have what they need to be safe, and I urge you to support House Bill 536. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody here that's in opposition?
Mr. Chairman, Todd Gackey on behalf of the Family Foundation. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to provide a little bit of context for what's happening. In 2013, then Delegate and now Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan worked with various stakeholder groups, including the Family Foundation and a number of other groups, to put in place this anti-bullying definition. That was House Bill 1871 in 2013, so we could refer to that as Jennifer McClellan's law. And everyone agreed at the time that the definition needed to be specifically tailored in a way that did not show preference to certain groups. It applied to every student across the board. And this policy has been implemented throughout the Commonwealth and applied in its current form to all students and all incidents for over a decade now. The problem with 536 is that by singling out specific categories, which was not the intent of the current law, they're treated differently than other students. And although it uses the term including, which under code refers to including but not limited to, every school division is going to look at this bill and interpret it by looking at the different classifications referenced under section 2.2-3900, leaving many students potentially unprotected. It could create confusion for local school divisions. And so I think you could look at some different examples of how this might be applied. Under this bill, hypothetically, and in some cases it's actually happening, where a Jewish student being surrounded and having students chant from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free, would qualify as bullying. And I think we would all agree with that. Though it may not include certain other examples, like a young female who's being bullied by a group of other females for physical features. So it could be that they show preference in certain circumstances, but others remain unprotected. The intent of the bill was to apply across the board to all students. And so for that reason, we would ask that you oppose the bill.
Senator Peake.
Mr. Gackey, before you go, counsel, am I misreading that the bill, as it currently reads, says bullying includes the basis of perceived race, color, religion, sex, all that stuff? Is that not in there? Is that, why is it? How's the bill read now?
That was, but let's.
How's the bill read?
How about, because that was my question at first that I got tripped up on. Counsel, can you just explain the lines that are struck on 18 to 20? Was that the initial draft of the bill, and then it was edited to, rather than list them out, to tie it to the Virginia Human Rights Act?
So that's the original bill, and then it's been amended?
That was the original proposal by Delegate Cole, right?
Mr. Chair, that is correct.
Show me what the bill reads like.
All right, so Delegate Cole, this is a question to you.
Yes.
The words that you're seeking to add are on 18 to 21, correct? So the initial bill said bullying is the power imbalance between the aggressor or aggressors and victim, and is repeated over and over. And you're seeking to add the language on 18 to 21 that says including on the basis of actual or perceived membership in a group that is protected from discrimination pursuant to the Virginia Human Rights Act.
That is correct, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Does that make sense?
I got it now.
Okay. Okay.
Now that makes
Okay.
sense.
Anything from the committee? All right, we work on motions. Go for it. All right, I second with Senator Locke's proxy. So there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 536. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And Locke. All those against? No. All right, so that is recommended to report on a 3-2 vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you. Is Delegate McQuinn here? She's got 2 bills, although I think we already did one. Let's see. So you got.
Good afternoon.
So we already
Mr.
did
Chairman.
398, and
Yes.
we conformed that. So we have House Bill 269. Go ahead, Delegate McQuinn.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. House Bill 269 just simply tried to correct an inequity in the career switcher provisional license program by removing an exclusion and allowing teachers of special education by removing the exclusion and then allowing teachers of special education to equitable participation in the program. It helps to address the dire need for special education teachers by opening up an additional pathway of allowing colleges and universities to develop career switcher programs specifically for them. I've worked with educational partners to include an amendment that ensures participation in the career switcher program will have to meet the high teacher standards as reflected in the special education competency outlined in the Code of Virginia. And so, and then this certainly will help, again, to address the teacher shortage, especially in the area of special education. And so that is the basically the bill, Mr. Chairman. And we do have individuals here who will be speaking, who would desire to speak to the issue.
All right. Well, let's start with testimony. If you're here in support of the bill, come on up.
Ken Blackstone with Henrico County Public Schools. This is a additional pathway that we feel will allow more teachers of special education to enter the profession. I have provided each of the subcommittee members with information to support the bill. I would like to yield the rest of my time to our Dr. Katie Smith, our special education director.
Good afternoon. My name is Katie Smith, and I'm the Director of Exceptional Education for Henrico County Public Schools. I urge you to pass House Bill 269 as a way to help us address the teacher shortage in our critical area. This would allow future special educators to access career switcher programs as a means to become a fully licensed teacher. This change in code would address an immediate inequity between general education and special educator teacher pipelines in Virginia. As Virginia code currently stands, university and college programs are unable to create and offer a special education career switcher program. A career switcher program is different than a provisional license track to full licensure. As a career switcher, an individual will complete all of their coursework prior to entering a classroom, unlike the provisional route, which only requires one class to be a special educator. After completing all of their coursework, an individual would be eligible to be hired by a school division on a career switcher license with the support of a mentor and receive continued professional learning for a year. At the end of that year, the school division could apply for a full license if they've demonstrated the required knowledge and skills. I'm in full support of any career switcher program in special education requiring relevant coursework that's aligned to the special education competencies already outlined in the state code. And I feel confident this track would produce higher quality teachers who take non-traditional routes to become educators. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Tom?
Mr. Chairman, member of the subcommittee, Tom Smith of the Superintendent's Association. You heard me talk a lot this time about a tool belt to face the teacher shortage crisis. This is another one of those tools. It's an important one because if there's one area that we have a tremendous shortage, that's special education. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody in opposition? All right. Committee. Any comments from the committee?
Oh, I didn't mean for anybody.
There's been a motion to report. I'll second that with Pekarski's proxy. So there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 269. All those in favor say aye. Aye. 3 ayes. So that passes. I told you I got you, Delegate McQuinn.
You did, and I
told you I got you.
Mr. Chairman, before I leave, I just want to, since you can't take your vote back now, I just want to ask you a question. And the kind senator who's gone, I wanted to say something that I know she's nice and treat you well, but do you miss me yet?
I always miss you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Thanks. Yeah, we can form that one. Delegate Tata, we got Delegate Tata, Delegate Razul, Delegate Campbell, Delegate Higgins. That's the lineup. All right, Delegate Tata, what bill do you have?
HB 696.
696, House Bill 696. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. HB 696 allows any school board that governs a school division located in Superintendent's Region 2, 4, or 7 may establish a recovery high school. The opioid epidemic, coupled with mental health issues and the use of alcohol and other drugs, affects students across the state, and there are currently no recovery schools in Hampton Roads, Northern Virginia, or Southwest Virginia for students who have completed a residential and/or formal recovery program. Recent overdoses, deaths, school suspensions, and other indicators of drug and alcohol use are increasing among our youth, and recovery schools can provide support for those students with substance abuse disorder. These schools educate all students in recovery in a safe and nurturing environment. They'll ensure that students in recovery receive an academic curriculum that meets state standards and leads to a high school diploma. They'll provide counseling and access to resources that strengthen students' social emotional health while ensuring recovery and possible reintegration into a traditional high school. And finally, they will also engage and educate families in a partnership to support their students in the recovery program and beyond. And I have people here to speak in favor of.
They don't have to if they don't want to.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I mean, if anybody has a burning desire to speak, but.
That's fine. Okay,
All right,
thank you
there's
very
been a
much.
motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 696. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you very much.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Delegate Razul's up, and we already did all the other ones that conform.
Yes, sir.
So we are just doing 1477, is that right?
Mr. Chair, 1477, and I believe that there's a committee substitute.
Yeah, so can somebody move the substitute?
Move the substitute.
There's been a motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Senator Razul, just for level setting for everybody in the committee, we saw a Senate version from Senator Suderline that we did not view favorably. However, this is a much different bill, so that's.
Oh, that's what you claim.
We don't, they're both from Roanoke. We're not playing favorites. Senator Razul, maybe tell us the journey this bill has taken to help the committee kind of know what we're doing.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. Before you is a bill that is attempted to capture kind of the imaginations of a longer conversation. There was a much broader bill in thinking through what flexible seat time. What we're trying to do, Mr. Chairman, is think about the kind of school time of the future, but really do it in a thoughtful way. I think the previous bill had a lot of words associated with it, and we didn't necessarily know all of the repercussions. What we're doing here, Mr. Chairman, is just maybe enshrining certainly the intent that the legislature has had in previous years, especially in 2015 and 2016 when we passed previous legislation around maximizing seat time, and then also with the enactment clauses, ensuring that we have the board push forward with the maximum regulatory authority that they have to maximize the seat time. What I call, some people call seat time bill, I call competency-based education. Once we've got competency in a certain field, trying to then ensure that we are, as quickly as possible, able to move that student on to level 2 of whatever that field may be. Happy to answer any questions. I know there are a number of entities here that are here to speak in favor.
Let's do that. Let's take testimony first. So if there's people that are here that want to speak in favor, why don't you come on down? And let's maybe set the timer for 3 minutes.
I'll be quick. Chad Stewart with the Virginia Education Association. We appreciate many of the changes made on this bill over time, and we think it's in a good posture and support it in its current form.
Mr. Chairman, Joel Andrus on behalf of Virginia Beach City Public Schools. I appreciate the patron for working with us on this bill. We think this is certainly moving in the right direction on providing school divisions more flexibility on seat time, and thank you very much.
Stacey Haney with the School Boards Association. We're also appreciate the patron working with us on this bill, support the substitute. I think it definitely moves the needle on some flexibility.
Sorry, I'm short. Mr. Chairman, member of the subcommittee, Tom Smith, I'll be very brief. We're in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Kathy Bircher on behalf of Norfolk Public Schools, and appreciate the hard work that the patron has put into this bill, the collaborative spirit to get it to a place where we all believe it is, to the patron's point, really in the position that is aligned to the legislative intent that we've seen in the General Assembly over the years. Thank you.
Lisa Kuhn, State Superintendent of Public Instruction. We're really excited to see the opportunity to move past the 1906 Carnegie units of seat time and think differently about how students can have the opportunity to learn, whether they need more time or less time. It's a great opportunity, and the department's excited to support this bill and excited to work with Chairman Rasool.
Is there anybody in opposition? I'll just quickly say, I appreciate that the bill, I think, Delegate Rasool, Chairman Rasool talked about a lot of words. I think my biggest hang up was there was a lot of code sections. And so I like how this goes about it, and so that's why I'll be supporting it. So. And there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1477 as substituted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, 5-0.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the
Thank you.
subcommittee. Thank you.
All right, Delegate Campbell is up next, House Bill 66. This is the other one that we saw last week. And so, real quick to prime the audience, this was about fire drills and moving fire drills to the statewide fire prevention code. So, Delegate Campbell, you want to start us off?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is to exactly do what you said, that we want to change the State Code of Virginia when it pertains to fire drills. I'm going to read it to you now. In every public school, there shall be a fire drill at least twice during the first 20 days of each school session in order that pupils may be thoroughly practiced in such drills. Each public school shall hold at least 2 additional fire drills during the remainder of the school session in accordance with the recommendation or the requirements of the statewide fire prevention code. That's where the problem is, because the statewide fire prevention code, that's not what it is. It's completely different. So these two are in conflict. And the problem that you have is that the schools don't know exactly what to do, number one. And then when the fire marshal comes in to inspect and to make sure that everything's been done, if they haven't done it in accordance with the statewide fire prevention code, they're out of compliance. So this is what the issue is.
Yes, thank you. And I had a lot of questions last time. I think that's why we asked for it to go back for the week. And I've talked to everyone, all the stakeholders, and I am now 100% behind this bill.
Okay. I have a question. Because it's, and I don't, maybe this is a phone a friend moment too, because I think there's folks in the back. I think a lot of the confusion is that it's hard to find the statewide fire prevention code. So we want to make sure that we're in a posture that if we're doing it, it's easy to access. So can we maybe, how can we access the statewide fire prevention code?
I do have someone here that can speak to that.
Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah. Troy Bauer, Assistant Chief with the State Fire Marshal's Office. It is accessible online, and that is it is under we enforce the statewide fire prevention code that is given by the power of the Board of Housing and Community Development that the General Assembly gives the power to. And this is the fire code. The statewide fire prevention code is the code that everyone enforces across the Commonwealth, and it's every school I've ever been in they're aware of the statewide fire prevention code. So we're in favor of this because it would clear up any problems about the frequency of it, and it wouldn't add anything to it. It's already getting done the same amount of times. It wouldn't be anymore, and it wouldn't affect the fire department. The fire department doesn't participate in the drills. It's just the schools that do the drills.
So, follow-up question: where do we find it online? Because I don't. Where? I'm not trying to be difficult. Just where would we go to find it?
Well, we have I carried the code book with me, so that's how I find it. But it's you can Google it and search it and find it.
Okay, can we, and I'm not doing any harm to your bill, I just want everybody to be comfortable. Can we take this by temporarily and you can show all the local government people so that they feel good about themselves too? Can we do that? And then we'll come right back.
Oh, we got it.
All right, Senator Craig's gonna go take, you wanna go take it back there?
Okay, it's under dhcd.virginia. So it's the Virginia Statewide Fire Prevention Codes. Would that be correct? And so it's dhcd.virginia, spelled out, .gov. And then when you click on that, it comes under the state building codes website.
Okay.
And then you
That's
can,
correct.
and
Sorry
then you
for
can
the
search a code.
Okay.
Yes.
And so this will keep us at the same number of fire drills.
Exactly.
All right. Then I'm okay. All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 66. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Pekarsky. 5-0. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Delegate Higgins is up next. We got Higgins, Price, Phillips, Carr. So we're at 1231.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Mr. Chairman, House Bill 1231 comes in the form of a substitute from House Education Committee Chairman Sam Rasool. The substitute instructs the Department of Education to notify all school boards of federal law requiring junior ROTC eligibility of homeschool students. Mr. Chairman, federal law requires public schools to permit otherwise eligible homeschool students to participate in the junior ROTC programs. Many school districts are unaware of this requirement, and our homeschool students, many of which are from military families, are getting turned away. Many military families have chosen to homeschool their children due to the constantly changing duty stations, and this was brought to us by military homeschool families who were turned away from JROTC programs. So I would say additionally, Mr. Chairman, as I think you probably know, our military recruitment is suffering, and this is an important step we can take to increase the recruitment of quality candidates who want to serve. I appreciate the consideration of the committee, and I hope that you will be willing to recommend this for reporting. Thank you very much.
So just to clarify, JROTC, the federal regs say that students who are not in the public schools can still participate.
Yes, sir.
And this is telling the Department of Education to tell the local governments to do their job.
So that they're aware of it, yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anybody here who wants to speak in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Chris Davidson, Orca Strategies. I'm testifying today on my personal behalf. My wife and I have been homeschooling our kids for 3 years now due to circumstances for our family. It works great for us. We're also an Army family for several generations. And if my two sons, 6 and 10, wanted to pursue this path, we would hope that they wouldn't be turned away because the school system didn't know the federal law. So I know there's been a lot of debate around access to sports and other extracurricular activities. However, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I feel that this is a different animal, as a pathway to military service. So I would just ask, again, on my personal behalf, that the committee please view this favorably and vote to report. Thank you.
Is there anybody that wants to speak in opposition?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to report House Bill 1231. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. And we'll use Pekarsky for that too. All right, that motion passes 3-2.
Thank you,
All right,
Mr.
come
Chairman.
to full committee.
You get to see another day.
Come to full committee. Next up is Delegate Price. Is she in the house? No. All right, then Delegate Phillips, Carr, Wilt, Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking to HB 1451, it allows for expedited retakes of standard of learning. It requires the Board of Education to develop policies establishing that any students grade 3 through 12 who scores from 375 to 399 range on the standards of learning assessment shall be able to retake such an assessment on an expedited basis, and requires any student who is eligible to retake such an assessment on an expedited basis to also be offered intervention services after the student retakes the assessment.
All right, is there anybody who wants to speak in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Tom Smith, the superintendent, we're in strong support of this. We first began this discussion, I think it was back in 2013, in which we brought a bill was successful to put this in place. We want to expand it. We want to make sure that children have this option. It's important. It's not just important for the school, but it's important for the child. If you remember, and if you've seen all of the activities when we get ready to take SOL tests, and if you can picture the child that participates in all those activities, all the hoopla about it, and then misses it by 1 or 2 points because they've had a bad day. And so that's why we would ask that you proceed to give that child an extra shot. Thank you.
Ken Blackstone, Henrico County Public Schools. We are in favor of this bill.
Mr. Chair, J.T. Kessler on behalf of the Virginia School Boards Association. We support the bill as well.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Michael Malloy, Fairfax County Schools, and we do support the bill.
Chad Stewart, Virginia Education Association, and we also support the bill.
Mr. Chairman, John Sedgwick with Virginia Professional Educators. We also support the bill. Thank you.
Anybody in opposition? All right. Well, Delegate Phillips, I'm going to tell you why I'm going to vote against the bill.
Okay.
And then that's, other folks can do what they're going to do. You didn't know this, but you stepped into one of my hobby horses. I can't support this bill for 3 reasons. I have a big problem with expedited retakes in general, which we already have and is a problem. And there's really kind of 3 reasons. One is I think that when we've talked about high stakes testing over the last generation of kids with SOLs, it's really been high stakes for the schools and it's been almost no stakes for the kids. It's not part of their final grade. They can take expedited retakes over and over and over. And so there's kind of been no onus, no skin in the game for kids. And that really worries me because they got to be part of this game too. Second is I do really worry, and I have seen it happen where it leaves kids behind because rather than getting the kids the help they need, what we do is we keep giving them retakes and then they pass and then we pretend that everything is fine. And then thirdly, and we've talked a lot about this in the committee, not just this year, but over the years about teacher time, and we're all hypocrites about teacher time, including myself, is that you get to the end of the year and you have teachers who are being dragged out of their planning periods or the beginning of the day or after the day to drill and kill these kids to go from a 375 to whatever they get, right? And because the kids can keep taking it over and over, the kids don't care, and the teacher's time is being used up. And I think we have to have and everybody in this room has heard me say this and knows I'm going to try. We need testing reform in a very serious way here. But I think expedited retakes are not the right way to do it. And so that's why I'm going to be voting no.
Mr. Chair, and actually talking to you, since you don't like it, if we could limit it to, do they do one retake a year or a semester? Do you do it? Do they do it every year? Is it with a semester, an expedited retake, one in an academic year?
And can I
Would
also
that
say,
ease?
we did add an amendment in the House side to make it better, where we still do offer intervention services just like we would if they did not pass it.
Yeah, I just worry I worry that the way the school system checks that box is they say, oh, the teacher was in the library with 30 kids for 30 minutes and they got remediated, and we check that box, which is, I mean, because we're all strung, we don't have enough time to do what we're doing as it is. I don't know that solves my problem.
Does it ease your problem maybe a little bit to abstain to see if we get this, let's see what the big committee
Probably
thinks?
not. Probably not. Yeah, I'm not asking y'all to go with me. I'm just telling you why I'm against it. So,
I just, when we have so many people who are so in favor of it, Mr. Chairman, I would like to just, oh, well, I would make the amendment that I think the patron would take to limit it to one expedited review per semester, per year, per academic
I would
year.
accept that.
Then I move to report the bill.
Second.
okay, so you want to make the amendment first?
Yeah, the amendment is to limit it to one per academic year. I don't know, you're gonna vote it down, so let's just, that's the motion. And then I move to report.
Oh, Tom's coming up now. What's up, Tom?
I'm sorry, and I understand the thought, Senator Peake, that actually complicates it more.
All right.
And so we would, but I understand the thought.
I withdraw the motion and move to report.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1451. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Sorry, Delegate Phelps. If you want to get on the testing reform bandwagon, we're going to start meeting this spring.
All right, let me know. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have, is Delegate Price here? All right, Delegate Carr. Is she here? No Delegate Carr? Delegate Wilt?
Wilt's here, there he is.
What's Delegate Wilt got? 1024. Take us away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Excuse me. Before you is House Bill 1024. And it's now a Section 1 bill. I started out, trying to be a little more forceful, but through our processes in the House, it became a Section 1 bill. And it simply asked the Department of Education to review their pre-service training requirements for appropriateness based on the age range of children served by staff. So a practical application, the concern was brought to me by the director of our local Boys and Girls Club. And so they're like everyone else, facing hiring crunches. And this was an impediment because the Boys and Girls Club, they're dealing with school-aged children, but part of their pre-service training, they had to train them in changing diapers and those kind of things. It was totally impractical. And so that's what this does, is ask the department to rewrite those, make them age more appropriate. Mr. Chair, I would say that there was a JLARC study, and this was one of their recommendations. This is a thing that they found was an impediment to various entities hiring folks, and they felt like this would be something good to do. So that's the bill.
So Delegate Wilt, so you're saying if someone's hired by the Boys and Girls Club and they are running a program that's for middle schoolers, an after-school program, right now they're having to do training for a whole set of age ranges that they otherwise aren't providing services for?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, cool. All right, is there people want to testify in support?
Good afternoon, Chair. Jenna Conway, Deputy Superintendent, Early Childhood Care and Education. It is an online course that is grouped together now that is required for all Child Day Program educators. And so we are more than willing to work with the delegate, the Boys and Girls Club, and other stakeholders to figure out how you could turn it into modules that would be more customized based on the age of the children that you're serving. So we're in support.
Follow-up question, Jenna?
Yeah.
Can you not just do that anyway? Can you not just do that anyway?
It's a long story. It's all grouped together now. So for example, diapering might be with other subjects. So like you have to kind of watch it all the way through to do it. So we could do that, and we will do that in response to this bill.
But if we don't send you the bill, you won't?
I'll abstain from answering that.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1024. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? 4-0 to 1. You're good. 5-0.
Very enthusiastic.
Yes, a roaring support.
Well, what you missed, Delegate Wilt, is Senator Peake's roaring speech this morning against making the department do things. And he's already back to his old ways.
Yeah.
There he is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members.
Thank you. Delegate Simons. And then Delegate Watts, Delegate Lopez, Delegate Askew.
I have two bills. Where would you like, Mr. Chair?
Whatever's in front of you.
Okay. HB 583 is a teacher unencumbered lunch bill, and it started its journey in the House as a bill to require that every elementary teacher get a 30-minute lunch break, but we had a lot of debate about divisions that already do this, or if they did, if they didn't. So we changed the bill to focus on collecting data on teacher lunch breaks. So the bill before you right now simply requires that the Department of Education survey teachers on lunch breaks in their annual survey called the Virginia Survey of Climate and Working Conditions. So I'd be happy to take any questions from members of the committee.
We do testimony first. Is there somebody that wants to speak in favor? Come on up.
Chad Stewart with the Virginia Education Association. We certainly hold the position that every teacher, human being, deserves the dignity during the workday for a 30-minute break and to be able to use the bathroom. But in the absence of agreement on that, we would love to at least start by collecting data to see what types of barriers are in the way for being able to follow through and do that. So we support the bill as is.
John Suswick, Virginia Professional Educators. We support the bill for the reasons stated. Thank you.
Is there anybody in opposition? People that hate teachers eating? Members of the committee? A motion and a second to report House Bill 583. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? All right, passes 4-1. What's next?
HB 677. The Virginia Department of Education has been without a library specialist since 2008 when the position was eliminated. The lack of a dedicated library specialist at VDOE has negatively impacted librarians, teachers, students at the school level. HB 677 requires the superintendent of public instruction to employ at least one certified school library specialist who would assist with numerous areas of support. This bill was brought to me by the Virginia Association of School Libraries, who support the bill, and I would be happy to take any questions.
Let's do testimony first. Is there anybody here that wants to speak in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Jay Deck with the Virginia Education Association. Librarians are really under fire. They've got a lot of stuff they've got to handle, so this would be a great bill, and we thank Delegate Simons for bringing it forward.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Matt Mansell from Broad Street Group representing the Virginia Association of School Librarians. Really appreciate Delegate Simons bringing this bill forward, and for the reasons she stated, we strongly support the bill.
Anybody in opposition? Second. All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting 677, and we'll do the finance part in full. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, 5-0. Thank you, Delegate Simons.
Thank you, committee.
Okay, thanks. Delegate Watts. is up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The bill is HB 215. I do have a substitute that staff has worked with me to prepare, but it has one line in it that needs to be stricken because it was stricken in the House, and I did not pick up on this version. So if I can identify it before or after you adopt the substitute.
Okay, so yeah, let's move the substitute. All right, second. So there's been a motion and a second to move the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that passes. So what's the line we need to strike?
And the language that needs to be stricken is on line 32 and 33. The first provision 1 was stricken in the House, so there'll only be provisions 1 and 2. There won't be 3 provisions. So it will be lines 34 through 40. That will be the bill, but 32 and 33 need to be stricken. And the renumbering that was stricken in the House, which no longer requires the set aside of instructional time.
So I think you're talking, yeah, and this substitute says that's lines 30 to 31. So you're saying get rid of the set aside instructional time during school hours
That's
for all
correct.
students?
That provision was taken out in the House.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to strike lines 30 and 31.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so now go ahead and explain the bill.
Okay. Thank you. And again, the underlying bill before you directs that there be instruction for, and there has been a change, it'll be for 9th and 10th graders rather than for all high school students. Early in the academic year, it'll be 45 days rather than 30 days as it had been, so it's basically the first quarter. The instruction on the Title IX, both what the protections are, but then also, most importantly, what kind of support students can look for and what the procedures are for reporting. And there you will see, and again, my bill numbers are different, but the new number 2 is to ensure that all students are provided with information about school counseling services and the supportive measures and formal complaint procedures available to them as required under Title IX in the school that they attend. So in addition to what the module will be as developed by the State Board of Education, you will also have then for each school making sure that the students know this kind of support that is there and that what they can turn to as far as counseling and reporting.
Okay, is there anybody that wants to testify in support? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Ranger. I'm with the Pride Liberation Project. Students have the right to know our rights. I was honestly a little bit shocked to realize that I hadn't done any Title IX training modules in high school, as they seem to be like commonplace now that I'm in higher education, especially with Virginia having more than 12,000 reports of sexual harassment and sexual assault cases in Virginia schools between 2015 and 2019. It is imperative that students know their rights and the ways that they are best able to advocate for them, as this appears to be an ongoing problem. Quite honestly, I cannot remember a single lesson that I learned in high school that is more important than how to advocate for yourself and what your rights are. Thank you.
Anybody in opposition? Delegate Watts, I have a question about line 27. Where it says 9th and 10th grade, is the idea that you're trying to capture all students and that's why you want the 2 years, or is it that you want the 2 years?
There has been enough concern about repeating it for each year that I felt it was more important on a preventative basis that it be 9th and 10th grade, that the students know early on, and certainly the appropriateness sometimes is if you, the earlier you catch it in the response to being, I'm going to use vernacular, being a teenager, the better. But certainly the support services and counseling that would be available, as well as what the procedure are for reporting for the student. I think the earlier that is known is better. And I would, if I've got to choose 2 years, I'm definitely going to choose 9th and 10th rather than all 4 years.
All right, second. There's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 215. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes 3-2.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Delegate Lopez. Is Delegate Lopez here? Card. Oh, okay, let's go Delegate Price. This is 617.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, as you know, we've done work to make sure that name, image, and likeness contracts on the college level would have some protections and guidelines. And what we're trying to do now that the national trend has been such that these contracts are being afforded to high school students, that the high school students in Virginia will also have protections and guidelines in order to make sure that they aren't being exploited and to make sure that as folks are able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness, that they are as well. So what we have done is brought over the applicable and relevant pieces of the college code to apply to high schoolers. And we had received some pushback from the Virginia High School League, and there was a lot of conversation on the House side about whether or not that was enough. And it was the majority of us, we felt that since not all high school students that participate in athletic NIL contracts are under VHSL, that this being in code would be a good idea to make sure that all of them are protected with this language. And so that is the meat of the bill. Originally, we had tried to push for an Office of an Ombudsman, but it got a little murky. And so then it was just a directive to have important information to be on the DOE website.
Okay, a quick question for you. On lines, where'd it go? 28 to 30, where it talks about not being able to prohibit an agent. That's because now when students go to college, they can have an agent. Is that correct?
Right. And I'll give you an example of why this is so important. There was an example out of Florida where a high school contract had a clause that was worded so opaquely, but it actually was meant to have that one NIL contract follow that athlete through their professional career. And, you know, the parents were just really excited that somebody was, you know, interested in their kid, that they ended up signing it. And we just want to make sure that parents and students alike are being protected from exploitive contracts.
Is there anybody that wants to speak in favor? Is there anybody that wants to speak against? Is there anybody in the committee that has a question or a comment? Second. All right, there's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 617. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? Okay, that motion passes 3-2.
Thank you.
Thank you. And did Delegate Carr? Yep. Okay, got you. Okay. All right, Delegate Carr, you have 1088.
Yes, yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, take it away.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, HB 1088 tasks the Department of Education with creating materials for local school boards relating to environmental education and literacy. Promoting environmental literacy prepares young Virginians to be productive citizens in a world that is being rapidly reshaped by rising climate. Moreover, environmental literacy helps students connect with natural systems that they may be unaware of. Embracing our role in the ecosystem leads to cleaner environments, respect for our resources, and well-rounded citizen voters. Finally, environmental education gives new depth to STEM education and can light scientific creativity in Virginia's developing workforce. I'm carrying a budget amendment for the staffing support of the Department of Education to complete the work that be carried by the bill.
Anybody that wants to speak in favor, come on up.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, my name is Bob Shippey. I'm a volunteer with Sierra Club. I've had 5 kids go through our fine public schools, and they have noticed that one of the biggest issues that faces them in their lives is not taught in a consistent manner. So we applaud this bill and hope you'll report it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Nathan Thompson from the James River Association. JRA, we have the privilege to work with almost 20,000 students throughout the watershed, from Big Island to Henrico, all the way down to Newport News. So we support the bill, and likewise, I've been deputized by Jay Ford from Chesapeake Bay Foundation to say they support as well. Thank you.
Anybody in opposition? All right. Delegate Carr, we've had a couple bills on this issue that have gotten a little dicey. So I'm going to make the motions today, but you should come to full committee for this bill.
Thank you.
So I'll make the motion to report and second with the 2 proxies. With a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 1088, all those in favor say aye. Aye. No? All right, that motion passes 3-2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when will the full committee be?
Next Thursday morning.
Thank you very much.
No Lopez? We'll just, all right, let's move to PBI. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Delegate Askew? Askew, Converse Fowler, Sewell, Hayes, and then if Lopez ain't here, he ain't here, right?
I'll second the motion. No, I'm just joking. Mr. Chair, how you doing? Members of the committee. Today I have before you HB 561, which is a school equipment safety audit. We as a Commonwealth had led the way in building school safety systems across the Commonwealth. Our work with the threat assessment team is establishing and consistently improving the Center for School and Campus Safety, and is considered top in the nation. In the aftermath of the Sandy Hook massacre, the General Assembly passed School Security Grant Act unanimously in 2013, which established a funding mechanism for schools to purchase school safety equipment. Since the grant was established, the General Assembly has passed legislation to expand allowable equipments for school grounds and school safety or on buses, rather. We have equipment such as two-way radios, voice and video, internal communication. But Mr. Chair, because of sort of the rapid increase of different types of equipment, we would like to have a study, this equipment, not a study, but ask the school safety audit to be conducted by the Virginia Center for School and Campus Safety, and include an audit of the technologies that are used and sort of what's best in practice.
As a follow-up, right, this is something that you already have to do, but right now it's mainly focused when they do these audits on kind of like school design, and they're going through for safety for that reason. And you're saying, this bill is saying, hey, when you go through and do those audits, you also should be looking at the technology that is being used to make sure that it is functioning to keep a school safe.
Absolutely, because it's looking at what's already in schools, and maybe looking at what we're going to look at to purchase, and sort of kind of have a sort of general idea, and also have, I believe, Kathy.
She doesn't have to come up. She doesn't want to.
All right.
You want to say one thing? Come on up. Come on up.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Kathy Bircher on behalf of Motorola. And we thank the patron for bringing the bill forward. He's described it perfectly. We do not have a collection, and that's one of the types of technology that's out there, and it's something that Motorola has witnessed. They work across the Commonwealth police departments, and collecting this information will be really helpful to them. Thank you.
There's been a motion and a second to recommend reporting House Bill 561. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you. Is Delegate Converse Fowler here? Oh, Delegate Lopez, you're here. Okay, Delegate Lopez. Delegate you ready, Delegate?
Good afternoon, members of the committee. Mr. Chairman. This bill has gone through several machinations on the House side, but it is HB 958 regarding students on school boards. Mr. Chairman, working with the Virginia School Boards Association, we rewrote HB 958 to simply instruct the Commission on Civic Education to create model guidance for incorporating student input and on the process of adding a student representative to the school boards across the state. The goal is to show the way forward for some school boards and show them that the benefits can outweigh the costs when it comes to adding a student representative to these bodies. We have a tradition in certain parts of the state of vibrant and robust involvement of high school students on school boards, especially in Fairfax County, where they recently selected their 52nd student representative to the school board. In addition, many students that have experienced being a school board member deeply believe in the positive impact they have had while in that role. One individual, Ben Lambert, who served as a student board member in Newport News, notes how student representatives are the closest to the daily life of students and are empowered to bring issues of immediate importance to the attention of the school board. With the substitute language, while it stops short of requiring student members on local school boards, its requirement that model guidance be created on student input and adding student representatives to school boards will, we think, show localities that what's worked elsewhere in the Commonwealth and give them a path towards creating better policies in the future. And I think that's a huge first step. I hope it would be the pleasure of the committee to pass the bill.
Being the chair of the Commission on Civic Education, I have a couple questions for you.
This is why I think it's important it goes to you.
What you said at the end of your remarks is kind of what piqued my interest, where you kind of suggested a big research role for the commission of looking around and trying to find model policies across the country. My worry is simply that there are no paid staff for this.
Understood.
And it's a voluntary body. And so any work is going to be done by the people who are right to your left.
Which is why I trust
his
them
name is Ryan Bremer
to do this, but also
or someone else. So I just want to make sure.
Understood. Mr. Chairman, what we're looking for really is simply model policy based on where it's worked in Virginia. And this worked best, we think, in Newport News and Fairfax County.
Okay, and then it doesn't, can we follow up? I don't know, I don't need to do that. The commission is also currently going through flux because we've had changeovers, and so we've had a whole bunch of new members just, I think today, be yanked off and put on. And so literally today. And so your December date might be a bit ambitious. Can we do a delay? Can we delay the? I'm not trying to do harm. I'm just literally saying it might not be able to get done.
July of 2025, or
yeah, is that
would be?
Would that be considered friendly?
Friendly amendment.
Okay, so council, can we just change December 31st to 2024 to July 1st, 2025? Can I get a second on that amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, I just genuinely, because of the turnover, it's going to be a process. So, okay. Is there anybody that wants to speak to this bill?
Mr. Chairman, Jim Council representing Prince William Schools. I have no issue with this bill, but I'm concerned about the final statements by the patron because you can see it coming. He said this is the very first step, and we're going to be right back here as soon as the guidance is completed, and they're going to be trying to mandate a member on the school board. So that's my concern, of record.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I
please.
would promise the individual that legislation will not come from me.
We all saw what you did there. Yeah, Senator Pekarsky.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I actually want to thank the patron for bringing this forward. I think the voice of students as part of the conversations where decisions are being made are invaluable. As somebody who came from a school board that did have a student representative that was elected by students and came to every single meeting and spoke and gave their insights, I have no doubt that the decisions we made were better informed because of it, and I think it is critically important that other jurisdictions and school boards know that they're really missing out if they don't have that opportunity to hear from their parents. So I love this bill, and I am going to move to report it.
So the motion is 9:58. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, that motion passes 3-2.
Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Sewell, you've been waiting patiently. Thank you so much. You've got two bills.
I do. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members of the subcommittee. Which bill would you like me to start with?
I don't care. Whichever one you want.
Well, let's go ahead and start with naloxone.
Okay. So we need to, that's 732, right?
Yes, and I have an amendment in the form of a substitute.
And this is the one that conforms it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of, no,
Yes, with two amendments. I'll let council
Actually,
address it.
council.
Do you want me to speak to it? Okay.
Yeah, council, can you explain?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The substitute that you have in front of you for HB 732 conforms HB 732 to SB 726, except it makes two amendments to that. So it isn't identical, but it is far closer. And those two amendments are, the first is at line 62 and 63, so that's page 3, subsection C, where it adds "or local health department" to provide and clarify that any employee of any public elementary or secondary school, school board, or local health department who administers an opioid antagonist for opioid reversal in a school-connected overdose or context or setting has that civil immunity from civil or criminal liability or disciplinary action to account for schools that may have employees that are technically employees of the local health department. And then the second amendment is in the third enactment clause, so that's lines 433 through 434 on page 17, and that just changes the year by which, the school year by which each local school board is required to implement the provisions of the act from the 2026-2027 school year to the 2025-2026 school year.
So we're adding a group that would be protected that we missed in the first bill, and we're moving it up a year. All right, so I'll move with Senator Locke's proxy that we adopt the substitute.
Second.
It's been motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Did you want? Is there anybody here who wants to speak in favor? I mean, you've been waiting patiently with, you know.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Lauren Schmidt on behalf of the Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. This is Poppy Schmidt, my 7-year-old daughter. She was disappointed this wasn't about puppy dogs, but we do support the bill and support all the amendments. Thank you.
Chad Stewart with the Virginia Education Association. We also support the bill.
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Ariel McAloon with Fairfax County. I wanted to just speak specifically to the amendment that was made to the liability provisions. We had asked the patron to work with us on that because our school health employees are employed by the local health department. So we wanted to thank the patron for making that amendment.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Anybody opposed? I mean, it's not every day you get to see your mom testify, right? We got to make that happen, right? I mean, how cool is that? All right. Second. All right, there's been a motion and a second to report as substituted House Bill 732. All those in favor say aye. 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 Lock two. 5-0. All right, what's next?
Wonderful. We have House Bill 731, which would be the elimination of the Virginia Communication and Literacy Assessment. So, Mr. Chair and members of the subcommittee, House Bill 731, as I noted, would remove this unnecessary barrier to becoming a teacher at a time when school divisions have more than 3,000 vacant teaching positions. This bill would remove one of the tests individuals in the higher education teacher prep programs must pass. And by removing this test, known as the VCLA for short, is a JLARC recommendation from the 2023 K-12 Teacher Pipeline Report. This test was developed back in 2007, but the test has not been updated since then. And Virginia is unusual in that it still has a Virginia separate test that's been developed. Most other states rely heavily upon nationally proven and recognized exams, and the VCLA does not fall into that category. As I noted, the VCL is outdated, duplicative, and ineffective at assessing teacher proficiency. And for example, if you, it tests perspectives on advanced like English copy editing that aren't relevant for an individual who is serving as an elementary music teacher or someone who is a well-qualified teacher of foreign languages for whom English is not their primary language or native language. And in addition to the test being outdated and unusual, the VCLA is only one of the many requirements that apply to prospective teachers. I'm happy to go on and share a little bit more, but it looks like we have some fans of this bill.
This is the unicorn bill, Delegate Sewell. We're moving something. This is the unicorn bill, right?
Got to oppose it.
I'm making a motion to report.
All right. We're not going to hear from everybody?
No. Second.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to report, what's the number again? House Bill 731. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
So when I brought all these bills to make it easier to get teachers, then you voted against it?
Yeah, I know. Delegate Hayes, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. All right, Mr. Chairman, committee, you have before you House Bill 1279. Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. Okay. All
Go
right.
for it,
So
Delegate Hayes.
this is a simple bill, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. The idea here is to bring together the Department of Health, Department of Education, to streamline processes, make recommendations for digitizing or automating the school entrance form for immunization as well as school physicals. This was brought to me by some of the physicians that participate in this process every fall. As described to me by some of those physicians and parents, it's a very complex form, handwritten hard copies, and they say they have to process thousands of these things every year. And in this day and time, it just doesn't make sense why we don't automate this process. So the bill is simply asking that they come together and come up with recommendations to automate that form.
Oh, real quick question. The intent is to automate the form?
Yes, sir.
Should we add that into the language?
Or digitize it.
Yeah, Council, should we add that into the language? Because I don't, It's not in there. I mean, it says more user-friendly, but should we specifically add that word so that we're ensuring that they do that?
Mr. Chair, it does say at line 12, and make such changes as they deem necessary to streamline such form and make it more user-friendly. If you wanted to add language to explicitly clarify that it should be updated and digitized or made electronically available and fillable, that is certainly possible as well, and maybe helpful.
We consider that a friendly amendment.
Well, yeah, the reason why I ask is because, I mean, sometimes these groups come together, you do the least the least hard thing, right? You just twist the things right. If we want to digitize it, maybe we should say that.
Absolutely.
Is that what you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Second.
So maybe we can say, and makes it to streamline and digitize. To streamline and digitize. Okay. Streamline and or digitize.
I don't like digitized. That would make it not good for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can we just do that? Do we want to just do this in concept right now, and we can? All right. So we'll in concept make an amendment to add the and or digitize. Digital, or is that cool? All right, so I'll make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of that amendment in concept say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, so that is now before us. There's been a motion and a second to recommend referring House Bill 1279 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, that's 5-0.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you. Delegate Converse Fowler. You got House Bill 134.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 134 requires the Department of Education, in consultation with stakeholders and experts, to develop and distribute to each school board age-appropriate and evidence-based education materials concerning the risks to health and safety that are posed by opioids, with a particular focus on the risks posed by fentanyl, risks, death, prevention, identifying the signs of overdose, providing resources for support, risks, and effects of addiction. And in a nutshell, that is my bill.
Council, didn't we already do this with Delegate Clark's bill? Is this different?
Mr. Chair, it is different. Delegate Clark's bill, which I believe we reported in full committee this morning, required specifically the development of an educational one sheet, and it enumerated several additional specific factors to be included. So they are different bills that are requiring different things. These are educational materials that are to be distributed to school boards, as opposed to being directly provided or made available for student education. And then each school board shall ensure that the materials are distributed to and incorporated into instructional programs. So these educational materials are for a slightly different function than the informational one sheet required in Delegate Clark's bill.
Okay. No, I don't think so. Question to Delegate Converse Fowler. On line 15, where it says each school board shall ensure that such materials are distributed to and incorporated into instructional programs, what do we mean by instructional programs? Because it's pretty vague.
Mr. Chair, I believe that would kind of refer to the curriculum. They would incorporate it into the appropriate place within the curriculum that would make sense and be age appropriate. So we kind of leave that to the local school boards to do, Mr. Chair.
Is there anybody that wants to testify in favor of this bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Jay Deck with the Virginia Education Association. We do support this bill. We think that educating students on this crisis would really help. And if we can save one life, that's one life saved. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Brent McKenzie with the City of Virginia Beach, and we thank the delegate for bringing this legislation forward. Like the VEA mentioned, we think that this could be critical information for our students. Virginia Beach, like many localities, has seen a proliferation of these dangerous drugs, and we think that this will be helpful. So we appreciate your consideration.
Opposed? I have another follow-up question. This lines 12, 11 and 12, it says shall develop and distribute to each school board age-appropriate and evidence-based educational materials concerning the risks. I guess I'm a little wary of how lines 12 interact with line 16 because they're both so open-ended. So it's like, we're going to create these materials, and then the school board has to put them into a class. And so it doesn't put kind of a limit around the materials, and then it doesn't put a limit around the instructional programs. And so I guess I just don't understand what that looks like.
Mr. Chair, I think the purpose, Mr. Chair, would be to leave the opportunity open for the localities and for the local school boards to be able to figure out where it fits within their curriculum, based on, it could be that it's impacting a certain way in a certain area. So providing them materials, but also giving them the leverage. But we would be open to an amendment and would love to just keep the bill moving forward and fix any concerns that anyone has.
What if the department just gets all wild and creates a week worth of materials, and then the school board has to teach that week worth of materials? I know I'm being a little hyperbolic there, but I don't really say. Can we, Shane? Yeah.
We think it's a very, very important subject. It's a crisis. But I think maybe considering sending it to maybe the School Health Services Committee to figure out how we incorporate it into age appropriate class, and then maybe especially on the high school level, or maybe middle school too. I don't know. But I think the School Health Services Committee may be better to maybe figure out where this is most appropriate. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's...
Mr. Chair, I had a suggestion just based on your concerns.
Yeah.
What if it was shall develop and make available? And that way they could incorporate at their leisure. They would have the resources.
What would you think of, Council? Say what you suggested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just based on the suggestion or the concerns of the chair, as well as the other individuals who spoke, one possible alternative approach would be to direct the department in consultation with the school or in collaboration with the School Health Services Committee and other appropriate stakeholders shall develop this same type of educational materials, these age-appropriate and evidence-based educational materials, and develop a plan for or consider the feasibility of providing for the integration of such materials into instructional programs for students. And then in a year or whatever date, it's the will of the subcommittee and the patron to provide for, they would report on that development and that plan. So that way there's some oversight, they're considering it, they're developing it in collaboration with the School Health Services Committee, and it's not just going straight to students in schools, and it's not immediately creating a requirement for school boards to provide this.
I don't think it would necessarily destroy the timeline because they're still going to have to take a while to create it, right? And it would just come back to us, and then we could see the specifics. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Mr. Chair, whatever the will is of the subcommittee to keep it moving forward, I think is a good effort. I think everyone's on board with keeping it moving forward, so at the pleasure of the committee.
Sounds great.
Okay. So that would be a substitute, right? So do you want to just to accept that in concepts? And then, we'll adopt that substitute in concept to have the department in consultation with the advisory board create that plan. And then they would report back to us with the specific details and would make it so that it would be kind of accelerated. I'll make that motion. Can I get a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And so that was 5-0. So we'll just make sure you get that language so that you're okay with it before Thursday.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Cool. Thank you. And that's it, right, guys?
Oh, my gosh.
Is that it?
Sure.
That's it?
Can't we cover some more?
Well, let's keep going. Let's keep rocking. All right, we're adjourned.
The Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.